everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Spectrum Art. It is Maddie and
Madison from Spectrum Art.
it is, and we are back. Now, if you're new, please read the description box down below, right?
Yep.
Now, what are we going to be doing today? Well, we all have that paper that we are not very fond of. There always seems to be like that 1, 2, maybe 3 pages in each pad that we actually purchase that, for whatever reason, it just does not make us happy. I know I have that issue. I'm sure you do too. Whether it's a colorful one or a muted color, whatever it is, it's just not your preference. So we are going to go ahead and get those ugly ducklings out, and we're going to make something beautiful. Now we are continuing our piano paper series. So we will be working with piano paper today. However, all of this can be applied with whatever material it is that you actually have in the household. So just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. I will share more info on the piano paper and the upcoming challenge as we go along. But for now, let's just go ahead and get started on making a layered pocket tag with a very basic mixed media vibe. And of course, it's mixed media because we're going to be incorporating paper, metal, plastic, and fabric. So we made the original tag during the Christmas season a few weeks back. Some of you might have seen this if you were there at the live when we started working on it. But today we are going to actually make one using a totally different look. We're going to be using a colorful palette, so very bright colors, just to kind of show you that it can be applied to whatever paper you have or whatever color palette you want to work with. So let's go over the materials and what we're going to be needing so you guys can gather them up first, and then we can create along. Now, we're going to keep, once again, the video short, so we're going to speed through the process, but you can always pause in between each of those steps and still be able to create along with us, okay? So let's go over what you're going to need. Our base is going to be a cereal box. So you're going to need some kind of a cereal, cracker, whatever box you have. You basically want it to just, be a little bit on the thicker side because you want to reinforce that tag. In this one, we actually have not backed it up, but in order to cover those brads, I highly recommend that you go ahead and cover that if you're going to be gifting it or utilizing it as a tag. And again, it's a pretty big tag. If you're going to be, and you can make them any size you want, if you're going to go ahead and be attaching those to any of your work, whether it's the front cover of a book or whether it's going to be on a page, then you don't have to worry so much about the back. The other thing is, remember, these can be made in any size. So you can completely go ahead and make these into a hinged or a tape system and actually make it into almost like the cover of a book. So the idea can be applied for many things, but let's go ahead and get started with a cereal box. Now, most cereal boxes have that glossy finish, so you're going to need some kind of a sander, whether it's a sanding block, a piece of sandpaper, nail file, whatever you have at hand. We're going to go ahead and scuff away that shiny surface from it. Then you're going to need some kind of an ugly duckling paper. In this case, here in the back, this was a paper that we weren't too fond of, but it had those Christmas colors, so we wanted to go ahead and use them. In this case, we're going to be using Maggie Holmes, and her collections are usually very beautiful, but there's always that 1 or 2 pieces of, again, paper that, I don't know, maybe it's just too bright for me or too busy. Like this one might be a good one. So we'll go ahead and go through that and see what it is that we're going to be using. But again, whatever you have at hand is going to work. You're going to need glue. You're going to need well, actually 2 different types of glue. You're going to need a white glue because we're going to be doing paper on paper, but we're also going to be adhering some fabric. So you're going to need some kind of a fabric adhesive, whether it's Fabri-Tac, Aleene's, Tacky, or fabric glue, whatever you have at hand will work. You're also going to need some ephemera, okay? In this case, we picked this. It's from K & Company. and it's got these beautiful bright colors, blues and purples and greens. So that's what we're going to play with. But again, whatever ephemera you have, whether you cut it out of a magazine or a book, or if you have a digital kit, go ahead and feel free to use that. If you notice here, the ephemera, we've used a banner, we've used this music note, a ticket, some words. So that's what we're going to be utilizing those for layering. You're going to also be needing a napkin. And in this case, this Christmas tree right here is a napkin. We are once again going to be digging into Madison's little bag of odds and bits and bobs of napkin. So we'll be using that as well. Here in the front, we actually have used a journaling card to create the pocket. So you'll need some journaling cards. So if you have a lot of these like life project cards or different type of cards, this is a great way to go ahead and break those out and use them. If you do not have any of those, then you can go ahead and always make your own, right? It's just a piece of paper that you can even make from the coordinating, paper pack that you're using. What else? We're going to be using a brad. We have obviously gathered some ideas. Not sure what we're going to be using, but we pulled out some of the brads that we have. And if you do not have a brad, you can use some maybe broken jewelry to get that metal element in there, right? And then we're going to be needing some plastic, since we could use bingo chips, but we decided to actually utilize some of these buttons. Yeah, these are vintage buttons. So we'll use, I see some of the colors that are in here, like the pinks, the greens, the blues. So we'll go ahead and use some of these for our plastic elements. And you're also going to need some lace. Not sure what colors we're going to use, so Madison went through and kind of pulled the colors that we thought would coordinate: your mauves, your purples, your greens, your blues, your off-whites. We'll see. We might use some or all the same. I'm not sure, but give yourself some choices there, and you won't need very much. Once again, let's look here. We'll see that we use lace up here, here, and down here. And again, if you look at, oh, I guess I should share with you guys. Well, let's talk about that. You're also going to need something to make the smaller tag to go in the pocket. This just happens to be a printable that we had gotten, and it's just a nice, tall, slender tag that slid right in there, and it was perfect for the Christmas season, right? However, we went ahead and pulled some of these.
Tickets.
We've got some, this is some of Tracy Fox's ephemera, and I will link that below for you guys. So those could work. We also pulled some tags from our stash that we thought, once again, they're gonna, oh, not this one, that might be within that same color scheme. If you do not have ready ones, once again, you use your same coordinating paper pad and you're able to go ahead and perfectly match your paper line, right? By making your own tag. And then you're going to need some kind of paint to go ahead and drip on the sides. Here, if you notice, this paper took magically and wonderfully, look at how that looks, right? To some paint being dripped on the sides. We went ahead and used our dilutions. So if you have your spray inks, go ahead and break those out. Once again, we went through the colors that we saw in here and kind of pull those blues, those greens, maybe some black, not sure we'll use that, or a purple. We also pulled a brown, and this is one of the oxide sprays. We do not have a brown in the dilutions. Right. And good tip, always remember, lay your distress sprays, anything that's got that mica, lay it on its side, right? Because you do not want to clog up your sprayer, right? Okay, your tube. So we pulled a brown as well, just in case, not sure. And of course you'll need to, thank you Madison, you'll need to distress your edges. So we went ahead and pulled black for that. Might use something different, might go with a purple, I don't know. We'll find out as we go along. And then finally, of course, you're going to need some piano paper, right? That's what we're going to be working with today. And in this case, this is just the pieces that were left on the side after we had made some envelopes. So we will find some, we'll find an area that we think would look good.
And
maybe that one.
And to me, it looks like an onion paper.
It does, and it feels so smooth. So that's where you see those perforations, those slits that actually where the paper peeks through. So that's what we're going to be using for that. So now that we've gathered up our materials, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get creating. So we start our project by sanding down, again, that glossiness, that sheen off the front of our cereal box or our box. And then, of course, we simply use some water and a wipe and some paper towels to wipe off that dust. We look through our pad to find those ugly ducklings. For me, it tends to be those really bright colors or really busy patterns. Those do not tend to be my favorites, but again, we all have different, for you it might just be some neutral colors or maybe some pinks or some blues, whatever it is that is not necessarily your cup of tea, works wonderful for this project. Because of the way that the paper works or looks, the qualities to it, it just gives you a very small area of perforation where it actually allows the paper to peek through. And then, of course, again, because it kind of has this translucent quality to it, it also allows it to mute the rest of it while still having somewhat of color in the back. And you'll see that as we progress here. But if you've missed it, piano paper has been introduced to the crafting community. It has made a big splash here lately. And Madison and I have just been having so much fun finding ways to use this wonderful paper. When we first got it, we actually did a few searches, and we really couldn't find much of anything as far as inspiration. There were some projects using the paper, like on lampshades and on candle vases. I also saw some wall hangings, which are amazing. Kateri and Rose Kala have done some of those, and they look really great. I highly recommend that you go ahead and look up those videos or those pictures and get some inspiration from those as well. Actually, Kateri, from Kateri's Crafty Ideas, that's her YouTube channel here, even used it on her Christmas tree. She took the piano roll and I guess cut it and then used it to trim around her tree, and it looked amazing. It was so Victorian, shabby looking. So I don't know if she did a video on that. She might have posted it on her her Facebook group, but it really looked amazing. So you might want to look into that as well as an idea. And by the way, it is Kateri that is actually hosting the challenge. So, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a second. As I was saying, it's just amazing paper. As you can see now, it's translucent somewhat. It has those great perforations. It is very smooth. It's almost silky like, but it has that onion paper feel. The translucency, the fact that it has perforations, and most of it has printed words also on it. If you haven't seen those projects that we did previously, make sure you look at those. And to top it all off, it is vintage. So what could be more perfect than that, right? The roll that Madison and I have been playing with specifically is close to 100 years old. I mean, just wow, right? And what's happening is, as more and more of piano players are seizing to work. They're breaking down. They are being converted into other projects. People are repurposing them for desks, for breakfast bars, for tables. And so these rolls are basically are running, they have no more purpose. So they're on the verge of becoming trash. So I know I struggled with it a bit, thinking, oh my gosh, this is 100 years old. Do I really want to go ahead and cut into it? But yes, the answer is yes, we must. And I'll tell you why. It is just wonderful. I think it's such a great thing that crafters are giving these amazing rules a new life by repurposing them. They're using them, turning them into art. Like I mentioned, some wall hangings, home decor, and useful projects. I mean, that's what we've been focusing on, right? We've been focusing on making envelopes and tags, things that you can regift, things that you can mail out, things that you can use in your journals. So, it's great to see them being or becoming useful again. By the way, when I do my napkins, I use a bit of tape, which you'll see here shortly, to go ahead and remove that second, third, sometimes fourth ply, depending on the napkin, from the back of the napkin. So I know you guys have seen me or seen us do that before, but I wanted to point that out in case you're wondering what I was doing with the tape. Now here is some interesting tidbits. Did you know that piano paper dates back to 1883? Can you believe that? 1883. That's like amazing. It feels like yesterday that it was 1983. So imagine this wonderful paper and these gorgeous rolls have been around for that long. Now, trivia question for you guys. How many different songs, titles, do you think have actually been recorded or known when it comes to piano roll? Do you think it's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000? What are you thinking? All right, here's the answer. It is over 45,000 different songs. I mean, that is amazing that they actually produced over 45 different titles of these amazing rules. Now, that's not to say that, of course, each title was reproduced, I'm sure, by the hundreds, right? So imagine just how many piano rolls there are out there, hopefully still in existence. I'm sure a great many of them have been lost. A lot of people have these up in their attics and in their basement. And of course, we know what water and time and humidity will do to paper. So I'm sure not that many are surviving, but we still have quite a few to work with, do we not? So don't feel bad about taking your piano roll and actually working with it and giving it a new life. Here's another interesting fact. After the roll was done being played, it has to be rewound again before it could be played again. So there would always be like this pause or dead silence. So of course, to fix this, they came up with a two-player mechanism so that one roll would actually be playing while the finished one was actually being rolled back. So that was neat. The fact that, they realized, hey, this is not working. So they went ahead and came up with a two-player mechanism. So you could always have music playing, constantly without those breaks. So you see, even back in the day, it was a no-no for DJs to actually have breaks in between music. I just thought that was so interesting. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, we had done some searches for ideas, right? On Pinterest, on YouTube, just a general search. And there really isn't that much out there. So when Kateri launched the Piano Roll Challenge, we thought that this was a phenomenal way to get folks sharing and inspiring one another. The hashtag for the challenge is down below. And I'm also going to be linking the video which actually explains the challenge, what you need to do to participate. There is a prize, so definitely try and get in on the drawing and participate. Not only for the sake of course, winning some lovely prize or prizes. I'm not sure if it's going to be one or multiple ones, but because again, we're looking to inspire one another. But make sure you check out that video, find out more about the challenge. I'm also going to be linking down below all the other projects that we've done so far in this series. We've worked with playing cards, we've worked with napkins, we've worked with fabric, we've done paperclip embellishments. So we've done a few things to hopefully get those creative juices flowing. Now, even if you watch this video after the drawing is over, even if it's 2 years down the road, please, I would like to really ask you to go ahead and use that hashtag, because this will just make it so much easier for all of us to find the pertinent videos without having to waste hours looking through videos. We all know what that's like. We type in some keywords to hopefully get some inspiration, and we end up with hundreds of thousands of videos. When we use hashtags, what it does is it basically creates a playlist, but it's a playlist from all of us, all over the world at any given time, and it puts them together. If you are not familiar with hashtags, I'll go ahead and try and give you a brief kind of explanation. But there are lots of videos here on YouTube as well that will explain to you what hashtags are, how they work, what they're used for. But I'll give you a very short, condensed version. How's that? All that you have to do is use the hashtag, which is the pound symbol, right? So hashtag Kateri's Piano Roll Challenge, all one word, okay, in the title of your video. Then when you go search for videos, you simply type in the same hashtag, and anything containing that hashtag will come up. So again, it's a way to find all those videos together to create a playlist, a universal playlist. So hopefully that makes sense. It's as simple as that. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to link anything. All you have to do is use that combination of words and that symbol together as one word. And I ask you, try it. Go ahead and type in, after this video is over, hashtag Kateri's Piano Roll Challenge on your YouTube search bar, and you will see what comes up. For right now, I know it's probably just some of my videos, but that's the whole idea, is that you are going to be able to add yours and share it with the rest of us in the community. I know quite a few of the ladies have already mentioned that they're going to be getting started working on this challenge. So soon enough, more and more videos are going to start popping up with the hashtag, because that's what we hope, right? It's all about inspiring. It's all about sharing with one another. I will ask that, of course, if you find these videos beneficial, if you find them inspiring, and if you create your own, I love to see, of course, your take on them, but that you please go ahead and give us a shout out, mention it on your video. If you can link, wonderful. We would appreciate that. Give us a link, folks, a link to our videos and our channel so they can go ahead and check those out as well. But just a shout out is sufficient for sure. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you finish watching the rest of the process. And one thing I did want to mention is you will notice that we did not use the dilution inks to drip on the edges. And the reason for that is because I realized that I wanted to keep it lively. It was floral. It was light, fun colors. So I thought dripping it was just going to make it too grungy, so I went ahead and did without. So again, you know, I'm sure you guys will come up with things that you'd love or a certain look. And these are just jumping off points to get you inspired. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Stay tuned because I will have more information at the end. Here's the completed tag. We hope it has brought you some inspiration. If it did, please be sure to hit the like button and of course share it with your friends and in other platforms such as maybe your Facebook groups or Pinterest. We'd love to keep bringing you content and appreciate you helping us grow. You guys have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.